Look closely at the man suspended in the void, his skin painted in the gold of ambition, his muscles taut with the effort of survival, holding onto a branch that is already dying. He is not merely a victim of circumstance, he is a portrait of the human condition in its most critical phase, that terrifying interval between the death of the old self and the birth of the new, where the ground is gone and the sky is silent. You are looking at him, but in reality, you are looking at yourself, for this is the architecture of the self-sabotage mechanism that governs the lives of the ambitious, the hungry, and the desperate. We are told that success is a climb, a linear ascent from the bottom of the well to the light of the sun, but the hidden rule of reality is that the closer you get to the light, the heavier your body becomes, not because of gravity, but because your subconscious mind is programmed to reject an altitude it does not recognize as safe. The scene you see is a freeze frame of the psychological kill switch, a dormant protocol buried deep within your limbic system that activates only when you are on the verge of a breakthrough, triggering a cascade of destruction designed to bring you back down to the pit where the snake waits. Why does the man hold on when the tree is being cut? Why does he not climb higher? Why is there a snake beneath him and an executioner beside him? To understand this, we must first dissect the nature of the comfortable hell, because the greatest lie you have ever been told is that humans seek happiness. Humans do not seek happiness, humans seek familiarity, and for the vast majority of the population, including you, struggle is more familiar than triumph, chaos is more comfortable than order, and the threat of the snake is more reassuring than the responsibility of the gold. The man is golden, implying value, implying potential, implying that he has transmuted his suffering into something precious, yet he remains in a precarious state of suspension, unable to ascend, unwilling to fall, locked in a paralysis that eventually leads to the very destruction he is trying to avoid. This is the first hidden rule of the mind: your internal thermostat determines your reality, and if your thermostat is set to survival, your mind will interpret success as a threat to your existence. Think about the times you were close to a massive win, the moments when everything was aligning, the contracts were ready, the body was fit, the relationship was perfect, and suddenly, without warning, a phantom axe struck the root of your tree. You got sick, you picked a fight, you procrastinated on the one email that mattered, or you simply froze. You blamed bad luck, you blamed the evil eye, you blamed the axeman chopping the tree, but the truth is far darker and far more difficult to swallow. The axeman is not an enemy, the axeman is a projection of your own psyche, a manifestation of your internal resistance that manifests in the physical world to ensure you do not rise above the station your identity has accepted. The tree represents your current foundation, the structures of belief, habit, and environment that have supported you thus far, but as you grow heavier with gold, as you accumulate value, wisdom, and power, the old tree can no longer support the new weight, and instead of leaping to a new structure, you cling to the dying one. The subconscious mind is a cybernetic mechanism, like the autopilot on a plane or the thermostat on a wall. Its only job is to maintain the set temperature, the set course, the set identity. If you identify as a struggler, a grinder, or a victim, and you suddenly find yourself in a position of ease, wealth, or victory, your cybernetic mechanism sounds a red alert, screaming that you are in dangerous territory, that you are off course, and it will deploy the axe to chop down the tree of your success to return you to the ground, to the pit, to the snake, because to the primitive mind, the known hell is safer than the unknown heaven. This is why lottery winners go broke, why empires crumble in the hands of heirs, and why you find yourself repeating the same cycle of almost making it followed by a catastrophic reset. The golden man hanging there is trapped in the upper limit problem, a psychological ceiling that dictates exactly how much abundance, love, and success you allow yourself to experience before you unconsciously manufacture a crisis to bring yourself back down. The snake in the well is not just a predator, it is a symbol of the toxic past, the traumas, and the failures that you have supposedly escaped, but notice how the well is built. It is a structure, it is man-made. We build our own wells of despair brick by brick with our daily habits of negative reinforcement, and when we finally manage to pull ourselves out, to hang from the branch of opportunity, we look down. We look down at the snake not out of fear, but out of longing. This is the paradox of self-destruction. A part of you misses the chaos. A part of you is addicted to the adrenaline of survival mode. If you were to climb up and walk away into the darkness of the unknown forest, you would have to define who you are without the struggle, and that is a terrifying existential question that most people would rather die than answer. So, you hang there. You wait. You watch the Axeman, who looks strangely like a version of yourself, perhaps a version stripped of the gold, a raw, primal version, hacking away at your lifeline. You rationalize the delay. You tell yourself you are just catching your breath. You tell yourself you are planning the next move. But deep down, in the quiet, shadowed corridors of your mind, you know the truth: you are waiting for the tree to fall. You are waiting for the permission to fail so that you can return to the well and say, "I tried, but the world was against me." The Axeman represents the externalization of blame. As long as he is chopping, you are the victim. If he stops, and you still fall, you are the failure. Therefore, your subconscious invites the Axeman, it invites the saboteur, it invites the distraction, because a noble defeat at the hands of an enemy is easier for the ego to digest than a cowardly retreat at the hands of the self. We must look deeper into the gold paint on the man's skin. Gold is heavy. It is dense. It is rare. To become golden means to separate yourself from the herd, to become an anomaly, and nature hates anomalies. Biological systems seek homeostasis, they seek average, they seek balance. When you strive for exceptionalism, you are declaring war on the biological and social imperative of conformity. The moment you begin to turn to gold, the moment you begin to refine your mind and your potential, the environment around you, represented by the dying tree and the bleak landscape, begins to reject you. The tree is not strong enough for the golden man. This is a crucial realization for anyone attempting to change their life. Your current environment, your current friends, your current habits, and even your current family dynamics are the tree. They supported you when you were light, when you were empty, when you were just flesh and bone like everyone else. But now that you are becoming heavy with purpose, now that you are becoming dense with vision, the tree creaks. It groans. It cannot hold you. And instead of realizing that you need a new tree, or that you need to let go and build wings, you blame the tree for being weak, or you blame yourself for being heavy. This guilt, the guilt of outgrowing your origin, is the first blade of the axe. It cuts deep. You feel that by succeeding, you are betraying the pit. You feel that by climbing, you are abandoning the snake, which, in a twisted way, has been your companion. This loyalty to suffering is what keeps the man suspended. He is strong enough to pull himself up, look at his physique, look at the definition of his muscles. He has the power. He lacks the permission. The hidden rules of success are not about gaining more power, they are about dissolving the psychological contracts that forbid you from using the power you already have. You have signed invisible contracts with your past self, with your parents, with your society, contracts that state, "I will not rise above this level," or "I will not be happier than my father was," or "I will not be wealthy if it means I am alone." These contracts are written in the ink of shame and stored in the vault of the subconscious. Until you find them and burn them, the axe will keep chopping. The sound of the chop is the rhythm of your excuses. Chop, "I'm not ready." Chop, "I need more time." Chop, "What if I fail?" Chop, "What if I succeed and lose myself?" The tree weakens with every beat. The tragedy of this image is not that the man is going to fall, the tragedy is that he has the capacity to climb, but he is hypnotized by the danger. This is target fixation. In high-speed racing, if a driver looks at the wall he is afraid of hitting, he will inevitably steer into the wall. Your mind steers where your attention goes. If you are hanging from the branch of success but your eyes are fixed on the snake of failure, your body will orchestrate the fall to align with your vision. You are staring at the abyss, and the abyss is not just staring back, it is pulling you in. The physics of the mind dictate that energy flows where focus goes. The man is not looking up at the sky, he is not looking for the next branch, he is not looking at the horizon. He is looking at the snake. He is monitoring the threat. And by monitoring the threat, he is validating its power over him. This is the mechanism of the self-fulfilling prophecy. You predict disaster because disaster is what you know, and then you unconsciously behave in ways that make disaster inevitable, simply to prove yourself right. Being right feels safer than being successful. If you predict you will fail and you fail, your model of the world is intact. If you predict you will fail and you succeed, your model of the world shatters, and the brain fears the shattering of its reality model more than it fears physical pain. Therefore, the kill switch is actually a defense mechanism. It is trying to protect your worldview. It is trying to keep you consistent. It is trying to save you from the cognitive dissonance of being a winner in a loser's body. To dismantle this switch, we must first acknowledge its existence. We must stop looking at the Axeman as a villain and see him as a function. We must stop looking at the snake as a monster and see it as a memory. And we must stop looking at the gold on our skin as a burden and accept it as a responsibility. The suspension is the test. It is the friction point. It is the moment where the rubber meets the road. Most people let go. Most people drop back into the well, wash off the gold, and tell stories about how they almost made it. But you are here because you are tired of almost. You are here to understand the mechanics of the drop so that you can reverse the engineering. You are here to learn how to stop the axe, how to silence the snake, and how to pull yourself up before the branch snaps. This is the anatomy of the trap. And now that we see the trap for what it is, we must go deeper into the mind to find the wiring of the switch. We must descend into the darkness of the programming itself. The software running in your mind was installed long before you had the consciousness to reject it, and this is where the tragedy of the golden man truly begins. We assume our thoughts are our own, we assume our fears are rational calculations of present danger, but the science of the subconscious dictates otherwise. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain was in a theta brainwave state, a hypnotic trance where you absorbed the reality of your guardians and your environment without filter or judgment. If you observed that money causes stress, that ambition leads to isolation, or that success is something other people have, these observations became the hard-coded operating system of your life. The man hanging from the tree believes he is fighting for his future, but physiologically, he is reenacting his past. The Axeman chopping the tree is often a composite avatar of every authority figure who told you to be realistic, to stop dreaming, or to know your place. This is the concept of loyalty to the clan. Paradoxically, we sabotage ourselves out of a twisted sense of love and belonging. If your tribe, your family, your childhood friends, your community, struggles, then your subconscious mind interprets your personal success as a betrayal of that tribe. To rise is to leave them behind. To become golden is to become unrecognizable to the people you love. So, the kill switch activates not because you fear failure, but because you fear the loneliness of success. You fear that exile. In tribal times, exile meant death. Being cast out of the group meant you would be eaten by predators. Today, exile looks like outgrowing your friends, having nothing in common with your family, or sitting alone at the top of a mountain that no one else dared to climb. The primitive brain cannot distinguish between social isolation due to success and exile leading to death. Therefore, as you climb, as the gold covers your skin, your amygdala, the fear center of the brain, screams that you are in mortal danger. It signals the Axeman. It says, cut the tree. Bring him back down to the tribe. It is better to be a broke member of the herd than a wealthy outcast. This invisible loyalty is the silent killer of dreams. You will find yourself making irrational mistakes just to lower your status back to a level that your tribe finds acceptable. You will lose money to fit in. You will dim your light so you don't blind the people around you. Look at the axe again, it strikes the tree, the foundation. The foundation represents your baseline dopamine. We all have a baseline level of happiness and excitement that we are accustomed to. When you achieve a massive win, your dopamine spikes, and for a moment, you feel invincible. But the brain seeks homeostasis. It wants to return to the baseline. If your baseline is set to mild anxiety or chronic struggle, your brain will manipulate your perception to bring you back down to that state. This is why, moments after a victory, you pick a fight with your spouse. This is why, after a profitable month, you get hit with a sudden wave of depression. It is the despair of the apex. The mind panics in the absence of a problem. If you have lived your whole life solving problems, fighting snakes, and dodging axes, then peace feels like a foreign, hostile environment. Silence feels like a threat. So, you unconsciously hand the axe to the executioner. You create a problem because a problem is familiar territory. You know how to struggle, you do not know how to exist. This inability to just be is what keeps the snake fed. The snake feeds on your reaction to chaos. If the chaos disappears, the snake starves, and since the snake is part of your old identity, you feed it to keep that part of yourself alive. We must also address the shadow of the golden child. In psychology, the shadow is everything we deny about ourselves. The golden man represents the persona, the successful, shiny, perfect image you want to project to the world. But the axe man and the snake are the shadow, the weak, the fearful, the envious parts of you that you have suppressed. The more you try to be perfect, the more you try to be gold, the darker and stronger your shadow becomes. You cannot destroy the shadow, you can only integrate it. But the man in the image is not integrating, he is separating. He is trying to be above the mess, literal feet above the ground, while the mess destroys his support. This separation creates a psychological split. You become two people, the one who wants to win, the golden man, and the one who wants to destroy, the axe man. This internal civil war exhausts your energy. You feel tired all the time, not because of physical exertion, but because of the immense energy required to hold down your own subconscious resistance. You are driving with the parking brake on. You are sprinting while pulling a parachute. The axe strikes. The vibration travels up the tree. You feel it in your hands. Your grip weakens. This vibration is the doubt frequency. It starts as a whisper, "Who do you think you are?" It's only a matter of time before they find out you're a fraud. This is the imposter syndrome weaponized. The higher you go, the further you have to fall, and the mind calculates this distance constantly. The kill switch is essentially a risk management protocol gone rogue. It decides that the risk of falling from the top is too great, so it orchestrates a controlled demolition at the bottom. It prefers a controlled failure over an uncontrolled catastrophe. You self-sabotage to take control of the inevitable pain. If you destroy your own business, if you ruin your own relationship, at least you did it. At least you were the one holding the axe. It gives you a false sense of agency in a chaotic world. But this agency is a lie. It is a prison. The snake watches with cold, reptilian patience because it knows that time is on its side. Entropy, the tendency of systems to move towards disorder, is the law of the universe. Building requires energy, destruction happens automatically. To stay on the branch requires constant effort, to fall requires none. The hidden rule here is that passivity is death. If you stop fighting the internal programming for even one day, the axe man swings. There is no neutral ground. You are either actively reprogramming your mind for ascent, or you are passively accepting the programming of descent. The gold paint is cracking. The effort is taking its toll. And this brings us to the most dangerous realization of all: the axe man is not trying to kill you, he is trying to save the version of you that he knows. He is the guardian of your mediocrity. He protects you from the unknown pressures of greatness. To defeat him, you cannot fight him, for he is you. You must starve him of his purpose. You must change the definition of safety in your nervous system so that rising is safer than falling, and climbing is safer than the ground. But how? How do you rewire a machine while it is running? The rewiring process requires us to confront the addiction to struggle. We treat struggle as a badge of honor, a noble state of existence that validates our worth. Look at the man's face, there is a stoic acceptance of suffering. We are taught that life is suffering, and therefore, if we are not suffering, we are not living correctly. This belief system is the fuel for the Axeman. If you believe that money is the root of all evil, or that rich people are corrupt, or that ease is for the lazy, then your subconscious will ensure you never experience ease, wealth, or abundance for long. It will utilize the deservingness barrier. This is a hidden threshold of how much good you believe you actually deserve. We do not get what we want, we get what we believe we are. If you consciously want $1 million but subconsciously believe you are a $5 person, you will lose the $1 million to return to the $5 reality. The reality must match the identity. The branch represents the opportunity that exceeds your identity. You are holding on to something that is too good for your current self-concept. The tension between where you are, the branch, and who you think you are, the pit, creates the energy for the axe. The axe is the equalizer. It resolves the tension by removing the opportunity. To stop the axe, you must raise your identity to match the branch, so that holding it feels natural, not miraculous. You must normalize the extraordinary. When you treat your success as a miracle or a lucky break, you are telling your brain that it is an anomaly, a glitch in the matrix that needs to be corrected. But when you treat success as the inevitable, logical result of your character, the brain accepts it. The man must look at the gold on his skin and say, "This is my natural state." He must look at the height and say, "I belong here." Until you claim ownership of your potential, you are merely renting it, and the landlord, your subconscious, will eventually evict you. Now, observe the snake spiral. It mimics the DNA helix, it mimics the cyclical nature of time. History repeats itself because we fail to learn the lesson. The kill switch is a loop. It is a script that replays every time you reach a specific level of happiness or success. Think back to your life. Is there a pattern? Do you always get sick before a big presentation? Do you always have a family crisis when your business starts to scale? Do you always feel a wave of emptiness after a major achievement? These are not random events, these are system checks. Your system is checking if you are still operating within the allowed parameters. The hidden rule is, you cannot outperform your self-image. If you try, the system will self-correct. This correction is what we call self-sabotage, but the brain calls it safety regulation. The snake in the well also represents the seduction of the victim mindset. It is seductive to be a victim. Victims get attention. Victims get sympathy. Victims are absolved of responsibility. If the man falls into the well and is bitten by the snake, he has a story to tell. "Look at what happened to me," he will say. "I was almost there, but the tree broke." The story of the broken tree protects his ego from the truth that he was too heavy with doubt to climb it. We love our sad stories. We polish them like trophies. We define ourselves by our traumas rather than our triumphs. To deactivate the kill switch, you must be willing to lose your story. You must be willing to be boring. Happiness is often quieter than misery. Success is often more routine than chaos. The drama of the almost win is a high dopamine event, whereas the discipline of the sustained win is a low dopamine, steady state. Your brain is addicted to the spike, even if the spike is negative. This is why you create emergencies. You are a chaos junkie. You need the adrenaline of the axe striking the wood to feel alive. To transcend this, you must detox from the addiction to emotional turbulence. You must learn to find safety in stillness. The man must learn to hang there without panic, to pull himself up without looking down. He must develop emotional objectivity. This means observing the fear without becoming the fear. When the thought comes, "I'm going to fall," he must see it as just a thought, a firing of neurons, not a prophecy. The Axeman is powered by your emotional reaction. If you stop reacting to the threat loses its energy. The kill switch requires your participation. It requires you to agree with the fear. If you disagree, if you simply observe the fear and keep climbing, the switch shorts out. The wiring melts. The old neural pathways, deprived of the electricity of your attention, begin to wither like the dying tree. But the transition is violent. When you stop feeding the old self, it fights back. This is the extinction burst. Just before a habit or a neural pathway dies, it flares up with maximum intensity. This is why, right before your biggest breakthrough, you will experience your biggest breakdown. The night is darkest just before the dawn, not poetically, but neurologically. The brain throws everything it has at you: panic attacks, nightmares, sudden exhaustion, crippling doubt, in a last-ditch effort to keep you in the known zone. If you interpret this extinction burst as a sign to stop, you fail. But if you recognize it as the death rattle of the old you, the final scream of the kill switch before it deactivates, then you can push through. The man is in that moment. The tree is cracking. The snake is rising. The axe is swinging. This is the breaking point. Most people let go here. They say, "It's too hard. The universe doesn't want me to have this." They mistake the resistance for a sign to stop, when in reality, the resistance is the confirmation that they are pushing against the boundary of their prison. The resistance is the proof of expansion. You do not feel the walls of a cell until you try to break out. The pressure the man feels is the pressure of birth. He is being born into a new reality, and birth is always traumatic. It is always bloody. It is always loud. But it is necessary. The hidden rule of the threshold is, the gatekeeper is fearsome only to those who bow. To those who walk tall, the gatekeeper steps aside. The axeman is a gatekeeper. The snake is a gatekeeper. They test your resolve. Do you really want the gold? Or do you just want the fantasy of the gold? Let us analyze the structure of the well. The well is circular, a symbol of containment. It is built of stones, representing the hardened beliefs of your past. I am not good enough, I am not smart enough, I am too old, I am too young. Each stone was laid by a disappointment, cemented by a rejection. You built the well that houses the snake. You are the architect of your own entrapment. This is a bitter pill to swallow, but it is also the ultimate liberation. If you built it, you can dismantle it. If you placed the snake there, you can remove it. The kill switch operates on the premise that you are helpless, that the mechanisms of your mind are beyond your control. But consciousness is the override code. By becoming aware of these hidden rules, you strip them of their power. You turn the lights on in the dark room, and suddenly the monsters are revealed to be piles of old clothes. The kill switch thrives in the dark. It thrives in the unconscious. It relies on you living on autopilot. The moment you wake up and say, "I see what is happening, I see my mind trying to sabotage me," the mechanism falters. The man on the branch needs to shift his focus from the prevention of pain to the pursuit of purpose. There is a fundamental psychological difference between running away from the snake and climbing towards the light. Motivation based on fear, running away, is unsustainable, it burns dirty fuel. It creates cortisol and stress. Motivation based on vision, climbing towards, is sustainable, it creates dopamine and inspiration. The man looks suspended because he is caught between these two motivations. He fears the snake, but he hasn't fully committed to the sky. He is in limbo. Limbo is the breeding ground of the kill switch. In limbo, you are waiting for external validation. You are waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to succeed. You are waiting for the axeman to stop. But the hidden rule of sovereignty is, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to tell the axeman to leave. You must save yourself. You must become the authority in your own mind. You must issue the command. The gold on his skin is a signal of alchemical transformation. Alchemy is the ancient art of turning lead into gold, of turning the base, heavy, dark aspects of the self into the refined, luminous, valuable self. This process requires heat. It requires pressure. The situation you are in right now, the financial pressure, the emotional pressure, the existential dread, this is the furnace. You are not being punished, you are being purified. The kill switch interprets the heat as destruction, but the conscious mind must interpret it as refinement. The dross is being burned away. The old identity is melting. If you panic and jump into the well to cool off, you interrupt the alchemy. You remain lead. You remain heavy. And heavy things cannot fly. You must endure the heat of the transformation until the process is complete. The kill switch tries to abort the process because it judges the heat as dangerous. It says, abort. Abort. Return to the comfort zone. But there is no growth in the comfort zone, and there is no comfort in the growth zone. You must choose. The axe chopping the tree is the separation event. Every level of success requires a separation from the previous level. You cannot take your old habits to the new level. You cannot take your old victimhood to the new level. The tree must act as a sacrifice. The old support system must die for the new one to be born. Maybe the axeman is actually doing you a favor. Maybe he is destroying the crutch so you are forced to use your wings. Consider this, what if the sabotage is actually a catalyst? What if the breakdown of the old life is the only way you would ever be desperate enough to build the new one? The universe often removes our stability to force our mobility. If the tree stood forever, the man would just hang there forever. He would never climb. He would never fly. He would just exist in suspension. The axe forces the issue. It forces a decision, climb or die. The kill switch tries to make you choose death, the well, but the spirit, the golden part of you, wants to choose the climb. The battle is between your biology and your spirit. Your biology wants safety, your spirit wants expansion. The hidden rules of success are the rules of the spirit imposed on the biology. Discipline is a spiritual act, it is the spirit commanding the body to do what it does not want to do. Focus is a spiritual act, it is the spirit commanding the mind to look away from the snake. The man's golden skin suggests he has already begun this spiritual dominance. He is not just flesh, he is something more. He is awakening. And the asleep world, the axeman, the dead tree, the snake, always attacks the awakening soul. This is systemic pushback. When you try to wake up, the dream tries to pull you back in. The distractions get louder. The temptations get sweeter. The fears get darker. This is the final test of the simulation. Are you serious? Are you truly ready to exit the matrix of mediocrity? Or are you just bluffing? The kill switch is the bluff caller. It raises the stakes to see if you will fold. To win, you must go all in. You must detach your emotion from the outcome and commit to the action. You must look at the axe and say, chop all you want. I am not letting go. You must look at the snake and say, hiss all you want. I am not coming down. This radical defiance is the only thing that breaks the circuit. It is the refusal to participate in one's own destruction. And once you find that refusal, once you lock it in, the dynamics change. The script flips. The energy that was being used to chop the tree suddenly gets redirected into your muscles. The anxiety becomes fuel. The fear becomes focus. You hack the kill switch and turn it into an afterburner. But to reach that point, you must understand the endgame. You must see where the climb leads. You must visualize the top of the tree, which is currently out of frame. What is up there? Why is it worth the struggle? We must construct the vision of the summit to overpower the vision of the pit. The summit is hidden because the mind cannot conceive of a reality it has not yet experienced. We operate on reference points, and if your only reference points are struggle and survival, the summit appears as a blank void. This void is terrifying to the ego. The ego projects its own fears onto the unknown, filling the blank space with monsters. But the hidden rule of vision is that you must hallucinate your future before you can inhabit it. You must create a mental construct of the summit so detailed, so vivid, and so compelling that it overrides the sensory input of the snake and the axe. Elite athletes do this. They visualize the race so perfectly that their muscles fire in the chair. You must visualize your life of success, discipline, and power so intensely that your subconscious begins to accept it as current reality. When the brain believes the summit is real, it stops trying to protect you from it. The kill switch disengages because the destination is no longer marked as unknown/dangerous, but as home. The man must mentally inhabit the space above the branch. He must feel the sun on his face, feel the solid ground beneath his feet, feel the absence of the snake. This is teleological pull, being pulled forward by the purpose rather than pushed by the pain. Most people are pushed by pain. They only change when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. But the masters of mindset are pulled by vision. They move before the pain forces them. They move because they are drawn to the magnet of their potential. The Axeman represents the crab mentality of your social circle, but deeper than that, he represents the regression to the mean. In statistics, data points eventually move back towards the average. In life, you are a data point. If you shoot up too high, the statistical probability of your environment tries to pull you back to the average. The axe is the tool of averaging. It wants to cut you down to size. To escape this, you must become an outlier. You must accept that being an outlier is lonely. You must accept that you will be misunderstood. You must accept that people will say you have changed, and you will say, yes, that was the point. The golden man is an outlier. He does not blend in with the dark background. He shines. And his shine reveals the darkness of everything around him. This is why people resent success. It highlights their own failure. Your ascent is a mirror to their descent. The Axeman chops because he cannot climb. He destroys what he cannot emulate. Understand this dynamic, and you will stop taking the attacks personally. You will stop stopping. The kill switch also utilizes decision fatigue. It bombards you with petty choices, minor crises, and irrelevant drama to drain your willpower battery so that when the big decision comes, the decision to leap to the next level, you are too exhausted to make it. You default to the path of least resistance, which is the drop. To counter this, you must automate your life. You must build routines and systems that protect your energy. You must build a fortress of solitude around your mind where the Axeman cannot enter. Discipline is not just about working hard, it is about creating a perimeter defense against the chaos. The man needs to stop watching the axe and start calculating the climb. He needs to shift from observer mode to executor mode. Observations lead to paralysis, execution leads to momentum. The moment he pulls, the moment he engages his lats and biceps, the fear will vanish. Action is the antidote to anxiety. You cannot be in a state of flow and a state of fear simultaneously. They occupy the same neural bandwidth. The hidden rule is, motion creates emotion. If you want to feel confident, you must move with confidence. If you wait for the feeling, you will wait until the tree falls. The kill switch paralyzes you to prevent motion. It locks your joints with doubt. You must break the lock with brute force of will. You must scream silently inside your own skull, move, and force the body to obey. This is the override command. It bypasses the emotional center and taps directly into the motor cortex. It is the rawest form of self-control. And as you pull yourself up, as you leave the dying tree and the hissing snake behind, you will feel a sudden lightness. The gravity will seem to reverse. This is the escape velocity. Once you break through the atmospheric drag of your old life, the resistance disappears. The Axeman becomes a tiny speck below you. The snake becomes a worm. The well becomes a thimble. Perspective changes everything. The problems that seem mountainous today will be molehills tomorrow, but only if you climb. If you stay, they remain mountains. The tragedy of the kill switch is that it keeps you fighting level 1 monsters with level 50 weapons. You are overqualified for your current struggles. You are bored with your own drama. The man is gold, he is precious, he is durable, he is valuable. He does not belong in a well fight. He belongs in the treasury. He belongs in the arena of kings. The subconscious knows this, but it is waiting for you to sign the release form. It is waiting for you to say, I am ready to be who I am. The axe chops. The time is running out. This is not a drill. This is your one life. The kill switch is counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The moment of decision is a singularity. It happens in the blink of an eye. You either let go, or you pull up. There is no third option. The kill switch expects you to let go. It has the script ready for your failure speech. It has the excuses preloaded. The economy was bad, my parents didn't love me, I was too tired. It is handing you the script. Do not read it. Tear it up. The final, hidden rule of success is, you are the writer, the director, and the actor of your reality. The kill switch is just a suggestion from a scared producer. You have final cut privileges. The man in the image is you. The snake is your doubt. The axe man is your past. The tree is your comfort zone. And the gold is your potential. It is who you are meant to be. Do not let the axe man win. Do not feed the snake. Do not die on a dying tree. The kill switch is a mechanism, but you are the mechanic. You can dismantle it. You can rewire it to become a success switch, a protocol that triggers flow, focus, and ferocity when the pressure is on. Imagine a mind that, instead of panicking near the finish line, accelerates. Imagine a subconscious that, instead of fearing the light, craves it. This is the Titan mindset. It is the mindset of those who dominate their niche, who change history, who leave a legacy. They felt the fear. They heard the axe. They saw the snake. But they climbed anyway. Because they knew that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. The man hanging there is about to make a choice. And so are you. Every time you watch a video like this, you are feeding your mind new data. You are introducing a virus into the kill switch programming. You are waking up. But waking up is only the first step. Getting out of bed is the second. And climbing the mountain is the third. The documentary of your life is being filmed right now. Is it a tragedy? Or is it a hero's journey? The difference is not in the events, the difference is in your response to the events. The axe will always be there. There will always be people who want to cut you down. There will always be snakes in the grass. There will always be a well of despair waiting for you to slip. That is the nature of the world. But the nature of you is gold. The nature of you is to rise. The hidden rules are revealed. The code is broken. The kill switch is exposed. Now, the controls are in your hands. What will you do? Will you fall? Or will you fly? The choice is yours. But remember, the tree is falling. The time is now. Climb. Ascend. Become. The silence you hear now is not the silence of the void, it is the silence of your old self dying. Let it die. And let the new you breathe. This is the end of the script, but it is the beginning of your life. The snake hisses one last time, a desperate plea for your attention. Ignore it. The axe strikes one last time, a desperate attempt to shake you. Ignore it. Lock your eyes on the unseen summit. Grip the branch with the force of a god. And pull. Pull until your chest hits the sky. Pull until you are no longer the man hanging, but the man standing. The kill switch is deactivated. System reboot initiated. Welcome to your new reality.